Good morning and welcome to SimWorld today on this August 15th Thursday edition. I am Marsh, joined this Thursday as we are now moving forward every Thursday by J.K. Candell. Good morning, Jason. How are you?
I'm great, Marsh. It's back. It's good to be back on SimWorld today. But I'm a little sorry for the viewers at home who not only get to see me and you once a week and instead of the usual twice.
Yeah, big loss, big loss. Big loss for the Patriots, big gain for the Falcons. As they pick up a big trade yesterday, the Patriots send Pro Bowl defensive end slash linebacker Matthew Judon to Atlanta for a third-round pick. The Falcons, they've been uploading, and they have been rebuilding, and they are ready to rock and roll, and now they have a dominant defensive piece after spending their offseason getting a much improved quarterback. JK, your takes on this deal?
I think for the Falcons, this is an incredible move. They've been looking so long for their next big-time edge rusher. They've been looking for some help on the defensive front. They tried trading up for Leatu Latu in the previous SWFL draft. They have really been just lacking some help alongside edge rusher Arnold Ebiketie, former second-round pick. I think Ebiketie is going to break out similarly to Kayvon Thibodeau in New York with Brian Burns on the other side. I think Ebiketie is going to have a career best season with Matt Judon on the other side of him. But for New England, I also like this move because I think they're going to find a similar breakout candidate in the wings of this trade as well. Second round D-end Keon White could be a big benefactor of getting more playing time and ultimately more production on the Patriots defensive front. I think both teams are going to benefit in large part due to their young talent. And I think Matt Judon goes to a team that's more ready to compete in the NFC South, but I am not convinced that they are the true team to beat. I think it's going to be a two-horse race between the Bucs and the Falcons, and right now I'm starting to lean the Falcons.
Panthers. I think the Panthers too. No, you're spot on. This is a good football move. This move obviously signals from the Patriots that they do not expect to be competitive, and this has kind of been the trajectory they've been on. Some of it internal with this move, some of it external with Brandon Ayuk apparently wanting. The Patriots were willing to give Brandon Ayuk, who may have a deal in place to go to Pittsburgh, but apparently the Niners still might want to re-sign him. It's very weird. But apparently he didn't want to play for him. He simply didn't want to play for him even if they were giving him more money. And I think this is a continuation of that. Matthew Judon wanted more money. Patriots weren't necessarily probably too interested in giving a 32-year-old defensive end a big deal. But the Falcons are, because they just committed big money to a quarterback of the future. And so for them, a third-round pick is a small price to pay for what they've already been shelling out to try to be competitive here in this immediate term. In terms of, who's the favorite in the South, did you say the Bucs were your other team there?
I did say I think the Bucs are the other team. I'm not in on New Orleans. I think Derek Carr is a fraud, and I think we're all going to see that this season.
I think we already saw that for the last two seasons, so jump on that train. Look, if we're sitting here saying it's between the Bucs and the Falcons for the number one team in the NFC South, the NFC South ain't that good. It hasn't been very good. It wasn't very good last year, but if that's our barometer, a Baker Mayfield-led Bucs team, who's fine. They're not bad, but I mean, they're not world breakers. They're not world changers, and neither are the Falcons. I think the Falcons are. The Falcons have more tools. They have more pieces. Brian Robinson or Bijan Robinson last year was fantastic. You have hopefully a way to finally unlock an offense that has been stuck in mud for the last 3 seasons when they were trying to figure out who was going to be under Arthur Smith, what they were going to do. They draft a tight end and they don't even use him. So I think this is actually a great move. I do think the Falcons are the number one. Are they the number one team in the NFC? No, of course not. But I think just by the default of this division being terrible, this is a team that I would expect to be near or at the top of it. Headed to Minnesota, the former home of Kirk Cousins, and J.J. McCarthy. Breaking news that he is going to miss the entire season with a torn meniscus. That likely means that it's a torn meniscus that can be repaired and not scoped out. So that's a positive, if you will. Anytime you see a meniscus injury, for me personally, yeah, it sucks to lose a guy for a full year. But would you rather get a guy back with a meniscus, which is the cartilage of your knee, the cushion between your two bones, or without? And I would obviously always say with. So maybe it's not a positive, but it's the most positive you can get. How does this hurt the Vikings' chances, though, this season, JK?
I have no medical license, unlike you, clearly. But I do think that
Unlike me. What are you talking about, unlike me?
I know a lot less about what the meniscus is, the function of the meniscus, but I want to keep this about JJ McCarthy. Actually,
Please do.
My heart breaks for JJ McCarthy. I may be a Michigan State Spartan, but he was great at Michigan. He was a former first round pick. I think that McCarthy would have had a great season for Minnesota, but now it's all on Sam Darnold, and people are writing him off. We saw what Darnold was capable of in a good situation with the Jets. But unfortunately, he got dealt a bad hand and got stuck with the Jets and Panthers. So everybody thinks he's naturally terrible, which is far from the truth, actually. I think in a Kevin O'Connell run offense with Justin Jefferson, with Jordan Addison, with TJ Hawkinson if he plays this season, with a decent offensive line, with Aaron Jones, I think we're going to see a very similar career resurgence for Sam Darnold like Baker Mayfield from a season ago.
Interesting. Well, first off, I'm most impressed that there's an ounce of warmth in that cold Michigan heart of yours, to be able to show some sympathy for a Wolverine. I mean, my God, I know the rivalry run deep, but I am glad you're able to put that below you, JK. And then my apologies, I misheard you. It's early. My brain is not functioning at full capacity, although one could argue it never is. But to Sam Darnold's point, I think again, this is very unlike us. I agree with you. I think this is Sam Darnold has a chance. There was plenty of people asking last season, and this is not to dismiss the 49ers, but if they would have been the same football team with Sam Darnold at the helm of it, would they have been? Probably not. But I think it goes to show that there's still a lot of belief in who Sam Darnold can be as a quarterback. And I think that this is a chance for him. You've got the tools around him, and I think that's what he never had in New York and in Carolina to actually be competent. And those tools include, to your point, a great head coach, or at the very least, let's call him a good head coach, depending on how much you want to use the word great. The season isn't over. I don't know if you know more than me, but I didn't really think was McCarthy expected to be the starting quarterback day one for this group.
No, absolutely
I mean,
not.
if that's the case, then your football team's not going to be that good anyway. Not a McCarthy quip, but more a rookie quarterback quip that hadn't really proven to be a Caleb Williams level talent. So the sky isn't falling in Minnesota, but this is, I think, the unfortunate of it is it's a rookie not being able to play for a full season. And we've seen that be a big negative for other rookies around the league that might have had high ceilings that end up getting cut short because they just can't get the reps. And the quarterback cycle in the SWFL moves quick. And if McCarthy now has one less year of experience under center, whether that's in practice or in games, regardless, that's still a negative here for them. No
Absolutely.
negatives in Basketball Without Borders yesterday, where Lou Juan had himself an afternoon, a huge game. Ended up with 18 points, hits the game winner with 2 seconds left. Your takeaways, was he the name that stood out to you most, JK, or was there any other takeaways from last night's game?
Absolutely, it was Hugh Kwan. In a 35-31 game, being the guy that scores more than half of your team's points, including the game winner, is always going to be the guy that stands out. I was looking forward to this game most prevalently to watch a guy like Leonardo Fields, who I expect to have a big senior season for SimWorld Asia Pacific. Actually, the SimWorld Asia Pacific duo of Oliver West and Leonardo Fields, for that matter. But Hugh Kwan really kind of was the reason I took my eyes off them a bit. Kwan was incredible. He showed range from everywhere on the floor, and that's all you can really ask on such a big stage.
And it's interesting. We saw a couple of saw 3 guys, a couple of them from last night. Jin Feng, Wen Feng, and Mayoto Rise, 5, 9, and 10th ranked recruits in the Asia Pacific, signed with Asia Pacific as the international ranked recruits. I'm waiting for the Lu Huan signing because it just kind of feels like it's got to happen to APAC. If not, then we're missing again. But we saw last week, or yesterday rather, SimWorld Oceania swing in to get Samora. That was the takeaway for me as well. This guy was the best guy on the court. He looked smooth. He looked confident. And in a game without coaches, the guy who takes the last shot clearly has the respect of the team around him. So if you're going to walk into the APAC locker room and he's going to be the guy that you're rallying around, people already believe him that we're on the court and now are signed to play with APAC. So I think a great opportunity for APAC to continue to add talent international. I mean, this has been a great 2 days. We get another one tonight for SimWorld, Basketball Without Borders Africa edition. All of that to say, international recruits are starting to show out, and that's good. And I've been happy and enjoying that.
I'm enjoying the growth of the game as well.
Can't go. Basketball truly does not have borders. Just does not. All right, that is our show. JK, thank you for joining. Thank you for adjusting your schedule. Glad we could get you in and look forward to having you on. And like I said, great to see a little bit of sympathy for your Michigan brethren up there in the due north. So love to see it's not all rock hard frauds in the mind of JK. So great to have you. Good to see you. We'll see you again next week. We'll be back tomorrow with the Rick Blazer talking about whatever he decides to ramble on about, because let's be honest, that's typically how it goes with him. And we'll try to just keep it on the rails as best we can. But thank you for tuning in here on SimWorld today on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game and be the game.
This has been a presentation of SimWorld Sports.